Welcome to the conclusion of the Great Depression, Macroeconomics in Review. What we have done is we have shown that it is probably fair to say, as Larry Reed does in The Great Myths of the Great Depression, that the 20th century's greatest economic myth is that the market economy was responsible for the Great Depression and only government intervention brought about economic recovery. This is the standard high school history teacher version of the events that get taught to our youth, generation after generation, and I think it's largely incorrect. Free markets are far from perfect, but when we look at the Great Depression and consider what we do know about macroeconomics, there are a lot of varying viewpoints, a lot of different schools of thought. They diverge widely on what their policy recommendations are, what are the cause of recessions, and what we should do once we're in them. And yet they share something in common. When considering the major policies of the Great Depression, they all agree that what we did was terrible. Our schools of thought recommend that we increase trade, let the interest rates drop, expansionary monetary policy, get rid of inefficient government policies, move to a deficit, let wages fall, decrease taxes, let the price system work. What did we do instead? Well, we did contractionary monetary policy, the opposite of what is recommended by any of those groups. We limited international trade instead of expanded it. We increased taxes instead of lowering them. And we kept wages high and manipulated the price system instead of letting wages fall and letting the price system coordinate the economy. Not one of these policies stands as a contended approach that one school likes, but the other does not. That's kind of hard to do, given all the various policies and schools of thought that we put forward as solutions to a recession. There's lots of conflict to be had. And yet not one of these has a contention. These four major policy levers are all unanimously disliked. It's in fact that not one of these policies is at all supported by any one of our numerous macro schools of thought. And yet all of these policies that we put forward here have strong detractors. All of these four policies have macroeconomic schools of thought that run in the opposite direction. These policies went in the opposite direction of the advice from these various different schools of thought. I said this lecture would not focus so much on the start of the Great Depression or how we ended it, and we just touched on those topics a little bit. But instead what we'd focus on is why the Great Depression was so great. And one of the major reasons why it was so great, one thing that we can know from understanding macroeconomics, is that it was because we kept ourselves down. We kept shooting ourselves in the foot. The Great Depression was not a problem of capitalism run amok in the unhinged, unregulated speculation of Wall Street. It wasn't the laissez-faire or even the Republican Party approach of Herbert Hoover. The Great Depression became the Great Depression because we, both political parties, pulled major policy levers that caused contraction instead of recovery. The Great Depression was so great because of us.